I have taken a lot of classes in a lot of different subjects and parts of history, some appealing, some were not. From church history to modern history, I've done and experienced a wide array of assignments. So let's just go over a few. At Cal Baptist, while I was finishing up my BA, there was a two-part course that included my final project and a historiography course, which was like a final project A and a final project B. For the first part, it had to do with a local historiography course where I had to find a local archive and into something of interest so I could write a big paper. And that brings me to what is historiography? Well, it's a study of recording of historical events and changes in their interpretations over time. Thinking of it as the writing of history based on the sources. Modern historians aim to reconstruct a record of human activities and to achieve a more profound understanding of them. And this course was preparing me to become a historian um, through the study and analysis of the methods, principles, and interpretations used in the writing of history. My topic was a hard one, but I took a look at the eugenics movement in California and in the archives, found some pretty interesting things that happened in Riverside, California. From there, I did some research, wrote my big paper, and then through this research and analyzation of material, I came across E.S. Gosney and the Human Betterment Foundation. Locally, I had to explore what was done and then tell my story. My final project in the next course took it to another level, and I looked at it from a broader lens and what it influenced from a different perspective. From here, I needed to go to Caltech as their archives had an entire collection of papers and firsthand primary sources that was going to help me in my research. It was eye opening as far as the movement that most people would not know in California history. But just what went into being able to write the papers was preparing me to become a historian, a storyteller, and providing me with the skills needed to be successful. These courses specifically resonated with me for several reasons. Critical thinking. It encouraged me to think critically about the topic I picked and the frameworks and how to explain it to people. Understanding my own bias. What was the eugenics movement? I had to take what I felt and be exposed to biases and perspectives that influence historical narratives. This awareness and approach to historical sources with a more discerning helped me recognize the complexity of historical interpretations. Awareness of perspective. Historical events can be interpreted differently based on my own perspective, the context I wrote it in, and even my own background. This understanding provides a more nuanced understanding of the historical event. Analytical skills. Through the examination of various historiographical approaches, I was able to assess the strengths and weaknesses of the movement. Appreciation of context. I was able to identify and consider historical context in which events occurred and how that context influenced the way history was written. Evaluating sources. Um, I was able to critically evaluate primary sources and secondary sources, all while assessing their credibility and potential biases. This was a whole ordeal to me, let me tell you. Writing a 25 plus page paper and then having to create an annotated bibliography was intense. Having to look at each author, biases, info, and just create info and put it on paper took a long time, perhaps, as much as it may have taken me to write the entire paper. So it was really vital to my understanding. Lastly, preparation for further study. The skills and resources I took laid out a strong foundation in research and writing, where I can not only use in all subjects, but also prepare me to create content like this. These courses were tremendously valuable for understanding how historical narratives are constructed, the impact of bias and perspective on our understanding of the past, and how historical writing itself is a dynamic and evolving process. It encourages critical thinking about the sources we encounter and how history is continuously reshaped by changing interpretations of us, who are the next generation of historians. Thanks again for joining me. Looking forward to our next post and hope you got some good info. Thank you.